junior achievement alumnus from San Diego. I was 10. I came up with a great idea to put a banana split into a big shell. Not quite what they have today with the wall irons, etc., but great ideas are all over the place. The reason I was put into junior achievement is my mom is an educator and had 6 kids, single mom. We had just moved from Akron, Ohio, from the project. My mom worked 2 jobs as a 2nd grade teacher, packed all 6 kids into a Country Squire station wagon. By the way, I just have to tell you, it's so nice to speak to people who know who Jerry Maguire is, what a Country Squire station wagon is. I spoke yesterday with Marshall Falk, who played football, MVP of the Super Bowl, and a guy named Angelo Pizzo, who was the director and producer of Hoosiers and Rudy. And one of the guys that was working with me is like, "Who's Rudy?" Yeah, this is so nice to get older. But my mom, she would literally pack 5 boys and 1 girl into a station wagon. We had packed dinners in a paper bag and then filled up turnstiles at convenience stores just so we could eat. So she kept us out of trouble 2 ways. One, woke us all up at 5 a.m., which I learned as a parent. I have 4 kids myself. And her philosophy was, do whatever you want after 9 o'clock if you can. And so I was the kid sleeping on the couch at the parties, and they write swear words on my forehead. And my mom would giggle when I got home, knowing that there's no way I could get in trouble, because I couldn't stay awake, because it was 7 days a week, 5 a.m. So if you wanted to stay out on a Friday night or a Saturday night, it was trouble. But when I went to San Diego with no friends, she was worried, so put me into a junior achievement program in San Diego, which is still one of the best programs. And here I am today as Chief Chancellor of Junior Achievement University. I sit on the Transformational Leadership Council with Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, a variety of huge authors in the world who have all donated all their content to junior achievement, and really proud of that. So I speak worldwide to junior achievement whenever I can. And so when I was invited to come here, I did everything I could, and I was saying I was supposed to fly to Florida to speak, and I was so, number one, glad that I didn't, because I traveled too much, but I was panicked because they had an event this morning and I did it virtually. I don't know how you could have an event, and I was going on at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, and they were an hour and 40 minutes late already. So things are much better with time. So I love it. Are we ready? Is this working now? We're the sports team in the world. Our offices were in Newport Beach. Warren Moon was not only a client of ours with Troy Aikman, Steve Young. Back then we had $2 billion in management, which once again, getting older, that sounds like a lot of clients. It was. Today it's like 3 or 4, so it's not that impressive. But Warren Moon and I became really close friends. He's the first African American in the Hall of Fame as a quarterback and in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. They wouldn't let him play quarterback in the NFL, so he spent 6 years in Edmonton and working through his beliefs and what he was going to do to create change. Also represented the Clemente family, Jackie Robinson, always tried to have impact in what we were doing. That Lee taught me a lot about that. And some of the things I'm going to teach you today about giving and receiving and witnessing it and changing your mindset to what we all can do will be really valuable for all of us in junior achievement. So hopefully I'll change the way that you look at sitting on this board, look at junior achievement, look at giving in general, because it's changed my life for the last 35 years and really helped me on my mission, which is why I'm here today, because I know all of you will help me. My definition of being happy is I help people make a lot of money to live in abundance so that they can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. And I don't think you can do that without making a lot of money. As far as I've learned. One more try, or no?
I'm waiting for her better.
Oh, that's fine. All right, why don't we get started anyway?
This is a Topgolf problem, not a junior achievement.
I'm not worried. I've seen all kinds of problems. So, and
We're
they're using
trying to help
technology.
Topgolf operate.
Well, you can make it up to me and let me play Cypress Point again. So.
Yeah, well,
I
I
recognize that.
stole this.
My favorite golfer. Oh, you stole it.
You're up.
I represented Lee Elder,
I know,
who's
me
one of my
too.
favorite clients
Looks
ever.
good.
He's the first African American to play the Masters. Playing there, he had death threats way back when because he was playing in Augusta. So he would take me everywhere to play golf. Cypress, Pine Valley, Augusta. And I always asked, why are you taking me? I'm not very good. I was like a 15 handicap. And he goes, I know. He goes, but you're the only guy in his 30s that I can still outdrive. I said, see, so everything works its way out. So let's talk about giving. There's a mindset. There's 3 different mindsets, and it's really reflected in my journey, and a lot of the kids that we work with, it's reflective in their journey. I've been doing this long enough to see the trees that I planted seeds under. Dennis Waitley, when I was 25 years old, and a top sales rep for West Publishing, I graduated law school to be an oil and gas litigator, to make a ton of money to buy my mom a house. I went into the internet in 1992 with a company called Westlaw, and I was one of the first 4 people there. Even though my mom told me, don't you dare go into the internet, it's a fad. You better be a real lawyer. Doctor, lawyer, or failure. I took the failure approach to my mom. But I did okay. We sold the company for $3.4 billion to Thompson in '95. But in that process, I transitioned from this world of not enough. And I think it's important to recognize that so many people in the world are victims. They live in this world, no matter what they have. I have friends in Newport Coast with $40 million houses, and they literally still live in a world of not enough. They are a victim. Everything is happening to them. There's never enough. They're living in a world of more money, more happiness, more wealth, more health. And it's important to know that a lot of us grow up not only energetically in that space, like I did in Akron, Ohio, but genetically. It's actually, to me, a quantum inheritance, just like a dis-ease, like alcoholism or anything else that we can genetically see in our code, that this world of not enough, and if we're going to help people, we need to know what world they're living in so we can meet them in their world and help them into the world that I want everyone to experience, the one that, through my journey that I learned, you see, I just wanted to be rich. And the only reason I wanted to be rich was that the only time I was unhappy, and I'm sure this will resonate with a lot of you who are educators, was when there was a financial problem. A car breaking down, a dishwasher, couldn't go to summer camp, or couldn't afford equipment to play a sport, whatever it was, I would catch, sorry, my mom crying. I'm 55 years old. It was still, something was hard. So I said, oh, my mom's doing all this. I didn't listen to my mom once. I didn't. That's why I graduated law school, top of my class, and didn't be a lawyer. I was going to listen to her, because I knew just because she loved me doesn't mean she was giving me good advice. But I watched her. And my success today is because I had 18 years every day watching my mom. And so this world, I just want to be rich so I can make her happy. I thought, only time I'm not happy, money, I get money, I'll always be happy. And so my relationship with money was, there's not enough of it, but I'm going to be hyper competitive and I'm going to get my share. I'm going to live in that zero-sum game. No matter what they told me, whether it was, I played football in college, they told me there's no way you'll ever play football in college. I got scholarships. I did everything that they told me. They told me I couldn't make $1 million. I made it 9 months out of law school. I was a multi-millionaire 2 years later. Everybody always telling me what I couldn't do, what I couldn't do, what I couldn't do. But I focused in on what I wanted. Unfortunately, it was only money. And I moved from that world of not enough to the world that most people live in, which is a world of just enough. Now this is a dangerous world because it's a philanthropic world. People will give to receive. Bob Proctor taught me the world of just enough, who was a junior achievement chancellor as well, who passed away last year. He said everything's a trade or negotiation for people that live in the world of just enough. They'll go around telling everyone in a very optimistic way, hey, everything happens for me. Right? It doesn't happen to me like in the world of not enough as a victim, but it happens for me. And I lived in that world all the time thinking, not only I was an optimist, I called myself a toptimist. Because I could find light, love, and lessons in anything because I was so grateful for what I had. But I still didn't realize that I was in this negotiation game all the time, that I was still in the zero-sum game. I would give money to get recognition. I would give money to get something back. I would work and trade and negotiate and compete for everything in the world of just enough. I would buy things I didn't need all the time. If I wasn't happy, I'd buy more things. If I wasn't happy, I'd buy different things. If I wasn't happy, I'd buy things to impress people I didn't even like. And that was my solution. And I think it's important for us as board members to know that not only are we dealing with a lot of people that live in a world of not enough, we want to make sure what they want in their trajectory or what they think they want is more than just enough. Because we will never overachieve our own self-image. And even those that make it, and I coach a lot of have already made it people. I still coach Austin Eckler for the Chargers, Michael Chandler for the UFC. I coach Chicharito, one of the most famous premier soccer players, who you would think are living in a world of abundance, but still stuck in limiting themselves by their own self-image, of where they came from, without understanding where and what trajectory they want to go and how to get there, because everything's happening for them still, buying things they don't need to impress people they don't like. Now, it took 3 lessons for me to shift from this world of just enough for me. Number 1, when I was 30, multi-millionaire, I was running before the reason Lee hired me was because of this job. I ran Samsung's phone division in America in 1999. So I was 31 years old, multi-millionaire. I actually married my dream girl, which is, to me, the greatest decision I've ever made. I met my wife in the 4th grade when I moved here. I asked my best friend Rob at 6th grade camp to ask her to go steady. She said to him, no, tell him to ask me himself. So he embarrassed me in front of all my friends and said, dude, she said no. So I decided the only way I could get her was to throw an egg at her when we got home. So I threw an egg at her, hit her in the back of the head. She hated me through elementary school, junior high school, and high school. Her cousin was one of my best friends. Literally, every time we were together, I'm like, oh, I think I should ask Julie out. He's like, no. She hates you. And you're mean. I'm like, no, but I like her. Anyway, somehow, I married her. And so I'm at 30 years old, living in this world of what I thought was everything I dreamed of. And I get a birthday present from my dad. I hadn't talked to my dad in 20 years because of my birthday. My dad left when I was 5 and was my hero. I still have extreme guilt because I would sit in the back seat of that station wagon. My dad was, in the 70s, they called a deadbeat dad. He was very wealthy, had a girlfriend closer to my age than his, and he wasn't paying my mom any child support. So 7-year-old genius in the back would ask my mom, how come you're not more like dad? Right, because dad had the convertible Cadillac, he had everything, and I'm stuck in the back seat of the station wagon. And she never said a word. Right? Never said an attacking word about him. But on my 10th birthday, he made a big mistake. He forgot my birthday. And I asked him, hey, how could you forget my birthday? He said, oh, I didn't forget your birthday. I don't believe in birthdays. Meanwhile, I saw him celebrating everyone's birthday, his girlfriends, my siblings. All of a sudden, you don't believe in birthdays? And I realized at 10, you're a liar. You're a cheater, a manipulator, an overseller, a back-end seller. I want nothing to do with them. So at the age of 10, I cut my dad off. At 30, now that I'm rich, married to my dream girl in my dream house in Rancho Santa Fe, I have everything I ever dreamed of and more financially. My dad sends me this gift. I open it up, put it on. It was a beautiful sport coat, and I start to cry. My wife's like, what's the matter? I'm like, oh, I can finally have a relationship with my dad. You see, my dad had never once told me he was proud of me, never once told me he loved me, and never once said he had my back. Which, by the way, are the 3 things I tell my 4 children every single day. I spend a minimum amount of time with my mom, my children, and my wife every day, no matter where I am in the world. And I tell my kids every conversation, I love you, I'm proud of you, and I have your back. Because my dad never said that. At 30, I put on this jacket, and I look to see if it says especially made, because it fit perfectly. And this body is not shelf ready. It's perfect for traveling, by the way. I make fun of all the athletes that for years made fun of me for saying I was an athlete. Now I'm like sitting in the chair, so comfortable over to Brazil going to the World Cup, and they're like 6'6", right? Completely exhausted when they get up. I'm like, oh, I feel great. Built no legs, long torso. Perfect for a plane. I look in this jacket, and all the pockets were torn out of it. I went from complete joy to hatred again. I called my dad, I'm like, why are you punishing me? What are you talking about? I got the present. Why are you punishing me? I'm not punishing you. You gave me a jacket I can't wear. Well, it's not for wearing, he said. He said, I'm worried about you. I'm worried you're just like me. I'm nothing like you. I'm worried that you think money will buy you love and happiness. I made that mistake, son. Don't make that mistake. Hang the jacket in the closet to remind you every day that money's not going to do it for you. I want you buried in that jacket a long time from now as a reminder you can't take anything with you when you're gone. I wish I was ready at 30 to hear that message. It came from the wrong deliverer. So I told him I hate you. You're a liar, cheater, manipulator, overseller, back-end seller. F you, and I hung up. 6 years later, I would get the second lesson about the world of just enough. My best friend Rob, the one that asked my wife to go study for me, I wanted to invite him to the Masters. Warren Moon, Wayne Gretzky, and Joe Montana. We were working with their kids, with Steve Clarkson, in football. They invited me to the cabins, private jet, and I got to bring a friend. So of course, my 4th grade friend, I asked him, and surprisingly, he's like, no, I don't want to go. What do you mean you want to go? He said, I don't like who you hang out with and what you're doing. I said, oh, come on, Rob, I'm not doing what those other guys are doing. And he said, Dave, you can lie to yourself of who you are. You can lie to me of who you are, but stop lying to yourself. There's a huge, right now, energy crisis with kids. And it's especially exaggerated and amplified by social media. And this is where the energy is killing these kids. And it kills adults, by the way, too. It's really simple. It's where I was at 36 years old when my best friend wouldn't even go to the Masters with me, to the cabins, between who I am and who I want people to think I am. This is what we have to help these kids with. We have to help them understand that they are fine with who they are. We don't care what other people think we are. And that focus needs to change, or we're all going to be in trouble. We're going to lose all the potential that we have. I work with Chris Gardner. He wrote the movie Pursuit of Happiness. And I always tease him, you got the book wrong. He's like, you and Will Smith. He's like, what do you mean? I go, there's no pursuit of happiness. Happiness is the pursuit. But he tells me all the time, he speaks at 2,000 schools a year, and he's like, our bench is deep. Our bench is deep. We may not understand everything all these kids are doing, but our bench is deep. And we need to make sure that we're developing our bench, because the starters are going to be much better than they are today if we can get them to understand I am, not this is what I think I want them to think I am. It's a huge crisis right now. An energy crisis, sucking the energy out of the inspiration out of everyone. And so Rob gave me that lesson, but I wasn't ready for it. So I told Rob, my best friend, I hate you. What kind of friend are you? I can't believe this is the way you would treat me when I'm inviting you to the Masters. And then 2 weeks later, my life would change forever. And this is when I would enter the new world with the realization. I marketed and worked with a guy named Little John. He's a rapper. Shorter than me, so I like her. John invited me to the Grammy Awards. He was being honored at the Grammys. I asked my wife if I could go. I had 3 daughters under the age of 8 at the time. She said, I really don't think you should go. You're not paying attention to the family. You're not paying attention to your work. And you're partying way too much. I'm worried about you. And of course, I lied to her. And I went to the Grammy Awards. I came home at 5:30 in the morning, a complete wreck. She was waiting for me. And instead of being excited to see me at 5:30 in the morning, you can imagine, her response to me was, I'm leaving you. I'm not happy, and you better take stock in who you are, not who you want people to think you are. Imagine, if your mom knew the truth of who you were, because I do. And you better take stock in who you were and what you want to become, because you're going to end up dead. You're going to end up dead, and I don't want to be around it. I don't want my girls around it either. I wish I was ready to hear that. But I told her the same thing I told my mom, my dad, and my best friend. F you. I hate you. How dare you? I remember going like this. Look around you. Who do you think did all of this? That was my answer. Look around you. All the cars, the Ferrari, the plane, the boat. Look around. Who do you think did all of this? The person I want you to think I am. That's who did it. But I went to bed, woke up full of hate, thinking, in my mind, in the world of just enough, I'm going to take their happiness away. All of them. No more money, no more trips. I'm going to get a lawyer. I'll show my wife. Money buys happiness. It also will take it away. And as I sat there on my bed, so angry at everything, ironically, right, I'm in the biggest glamorized stuck in the world. Right? It's bad enough to know who you are, and then for everyone to believe who you want them to believe you are, and then be envious of you when all you are is empty in a world of just enough. It was awful, and I woke up so full of hate, and I'm thinking, I hate my mom, I hate my dad, I hate my best friend, I hate my wife. And lo and behold, here I was 6 years later, looking in my closet, and for the first time in years, what do I see? A goddamn jacket. A jacket. Now I remember telling my mom one time, I don't believe in God. My mom's very religious. My brother's a rabbi, went to Harvard, extreme religious scholar. He has studied religious studies, he was working for Clinton, he has a PhD in social ethics. And here the other son says, I don't believe in God. And all my mom said was, well, you believe in God. You just believe in the wrong God. I look at that jacket, and I realized what God she meant. Because I looked at it, and I said to myself, I don't hate my mom, my dad, my best friend, or my wife. I hated myself. I hated myself because I lived my life of what I wanted everyone to think I am. I was running the most notable sports agency in the world. I was worth over $100 million. I could not only buy anything I wanted, I could do anything that billionaires couldn't do with the access that I had and the people I surrounded myself with. And I was miserable and a glamorized stuck. So I sat down and realized that I was a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, an overseller, and a back-end seller. A genetic and an energetic inheritance that has now elevated my own awareness to who I am. And the only way out of it was to teach values. So I took stock in who I was, and I took stock in these 4 values, and I've been teaching them for 17 years. These 4 values helped me 2 years later when I lost everything. I lost everything, over $100 million, but I didn't lose my wife, I didn't lose my kids, and I didn't lose my life. In fact, what scared my wife the most out of losing everything was how calm I was. Because I had a source of faith that I never had before, based off of 1, gratitude. I find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. And I help others do the same. Gratitude gives us perspective, and we have to share that perspective and allow other people to participate in that perspective of gratitude. Gratitude's so amazing to me, as you know, I'm Chief Chancellor of Junior Achievement University. So Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, Mark Victor Hansen, Mary Morrissey, Sharon Lecter. The list will go on and on. If you look up, the world's greatest thought leaders, authors, have all volunteered for Junior Achievement, and they all agree on one thing. I've met Oprah, she agrees with this. I've met Sadhguru. I've met Deepak, he's on there, by the way, as well. And they all tell you gratitude is the most important thing in life. It'll change your life. I tell people, say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up. That was the first thing I started doing. Why? Because that's what my mom made me do when I was little. Every night, no matter how shitty our lives were, it was like, go to bed, make sure you say your thanks. When you wake up, if I didn't, came down in a bad attitude, the wrong attitude, go back up. I want you to list out what you're thankful for, not what you don't have, not what's missing, not what other people think you should have, what you have. Here's the funny thing. Since then, I've studied physics, quantum physics, and metaphysics. They all agree gratitude is the most powerful thing in the world. It's free, by the way. It takes 0.1 seconds to do, but by tonight, half the people that I've taught this won't say thank you. By tomorrow morning, another half of the people won't say thank you. Within 3 days, almost all of us won't say thank you. So the bigger lesson that I've learned within the context of values and changing your own life so you can give that to others is the simple things to do, like saying thank you, are unfortunately simple not to do. So I want you to take back with you an awareness of what simple things I can do and teach that will impact people exponentially and make that a priority so that I don't forget to do it, because the simple things to do are unfortunate. And we're losing a race because we're not focusing in on the simple things that make the greatest change. The second value was forgiveness. I had a lot to forgive. Can't give what we don't have. That's why I believe in making a lot of money. And I'm going to go through that idea of abundance with money in mind and your relationship with money. But you can't give what you don't have. And forgiveness is one of those things that I work with every day to forgive myself so I can give it to others. I love my wife because she gives me the easiest example to teach this. My wife, literally, when we're driving on the 73, the toll road, there'll be like 3 people. By the time you go from south to north to Newport Beach, the airport, 3 people will drive by her and flip her off. And she's so oblivious. She's like, why are they so mad? And I'm like, because you almost killed us, and you cut them off, right? But then, invariably, someone will cut her off, and what does she do? Oh my God, flipping them off. Can you believe he cut me off? I'm like, oh, can't get what you don't have. We're living our lives that way. We're flipping off people, and they're flipping off us for stuff that we're to just forgive yourself and give it away. It'll bring ease to your life. So gratitude, perspective, and forgiveness will bring you ease. Another simple thing to do. That's unfortunately simple not to do, but will change the lives of you and everyone around you. Third one is accountability. People will talk about that today, especially with younger people. The purpose of accountability isn't necessarily to be responsible for what happened. It's to have control of your life by learning from everything that happens. You see, if I take accountability for what's happened, the key to taking accountability is the second part. What am I responsible for, and what am I supposed to learn from it? The second one is, what did I attract to my life, which is a more metaphysical way of looking at it, which I believe, and what am I supposed to learn from it? And then finally, what am I doing to participate in this perception, and what am I supposed to learn from it? What meaning am I giving the failures, the setbacks, the defining moments, the historical relevances, the successes in my life? What meaning am I giving that in a trajectory of where I think I want to be or better? Is it aligned with my self-image? Because we give meaning to everything we see, and we have to help others give the right meaning to what they see. By finding the light, the love, and the lessons in what they see, by looking at it through a perspective of gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability. These all fit together so that we're living not in a world of being a victim. Trust me, when you lose over $100 million, there's a lot you could say that you're a victim of. Or at least say, I'm living in a world of just enough. But I look back at it, and the meaning I give is it saved my life and saved my marriage, which is like saving my life. If I didn't lose everything, I wouldn't be here today. Did I give it that meaning the day that I went bankrupt and had to walk to my mom's house and tell her that I was bankrupt and that I didn't take her house out of my name so she now had to move because I lost her house? No, that was a really difficult day. But I'm so grateful for it today. I'm so forgiving of what I did to be accountable for it today, which allows me to live in spirit today. It changes the whole paradigm of what we're trying to teach people. See, we don't want to live in a world of not enough or just enough. There's no reason to have more. Because I am more. I am actually more than enough. What am I doing to interfere with it? Whether it's religious, spiritual, philosophical, or theoretical, I believe as a best option of faith. Because faith is defined as something that we can't prove or know. The best option for faith, regardless of your religion, philosophy, spirituality, or theories, is something very simple to me. I believe in something bigger than me that's omniscient and all-powerful and all-knowing, and it loves me more than my mom. So when I lose everything, I'm being protected and promoted. When I don't get the job that I want, I don't get into the school that I want, when somebody cheats me, steals from me, manipulates me, I'm being protected and promoted. It's just like when you were 3 years old and you reach out to touch the campfire because it looks really warm and bright, and your mom, who's like mine, has never hit you before or even yelled at you. In fact, your wife later on in life will say, you know what your problem is? Your mom never hits you. But when you reach out to do that, and for the first time, your mom slaps the crap out of your hand and screams at you no, and you cry, what did I do? Why are you punishing me? And she hugs you and tells you what? I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting you. You just don't know this fire is going to hurt you. Just like you just don't know the job was going to hurt you, that money was going to hurt you, whatever it was, you're being protected and promoted. And I think regardless of religion, philosophy, spirituality, or theories that these kids have and you have to instill faith. There's something bigger than you that loves you more than your mom. It's here to protect and promote you. So let's look for the light, the love, and the lessons in what appears to be punishment, what appears to be not enough or just enough, and let's get into a world that's not a zero-sum game anymore. It's a value-add game. And I'm going to teach you how to do that today with the time remaining, and then we're going to take some questions so I can, instead of talking about what I think you want to hear, I get to learn what you're listening for and really help you. So here's the 3 steps of abundance that I've learned. The first is appreciation. We have to have a lens of appreciation. We need to teach people to find the light, the love, and the lessons in every person, place, thing, or circumstance. We have to change the perspective and the meaning of everything that's going on and shift that eye to gratitude and appreciation. The word appreciation means what? To add value. Your house appreciates. If you live here in California, I'm sure it has. What has it done? It's gone up in value. We have to teach appreciation. We have to teach it by living it and seeing as an example, an illustration of where appreciation gets us to abundance, to I am more. It allows us to understand I am more, no longer more happy, more healthy, more wealthy, and more worthy. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy. Why am I need to interfere with it? So let's teach appreciation in its simplest way. When we appreciate, things expand. It adds value. Most people are inclined to appreciate everything. It's the second step that confuses them, which I call acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is your ability to acquire the knowledge of what you have. Circumstances like losing everything, not getting into the school you wanted to, not having enough food, whatever it is that you feel you're being punished with or challenged with, can we acknowledge it? After we appreciate it, can we acquire the knowledge of the light, the love, and the lesson in whatever perception of tragedy or trauma or challenge? Acknowledgement is acquiring the knowledge. There's one simple way that we acquire knowledge of things. Not have it anymore. So this is where giving gets interesting, because most people on earth are inclined to say, the more that I give, the more I'll receive, which is absolutely true. But it's not happening as a trade or negotiation. That's not what's happening. What's happening is when you give something away, you're acknowledging it. You now have full knowledge of what you have. You have full appreciation of what you have as well. You have an expanded vessel which you have now appreciated and then emptied. But most of us in this field, including me, and especially my mom, we go through life appreciating and acknowledging. My mom gave away everything. My mom appreciated everything, which is part of the reason my siblings are so amazing. Harvard, Penn, Columbia, summa cum laude, unbelievable philanthropists. They're just amazing people, but they're just like my mom. They appreciate everything they have, and they give it all away. My mom gave it to her kids. She gave it to the Sunday school kids. She gave it to her community. She gave it to Women's Lib. Some of you women have also been empowered because of women like my mom who gave their lives away. Even now, she's 80 years old, she's given everything away. Her wealth, her happiness, Just giving everything away to everybody else. And she's in a position where she didn't want to be, which is she needs help. She needs help because, and everyone's glad to give it to her. Right? Everyone's glad to give it to her because she gave it and they're there for her. And trust me, my siblings and I will do anything, but I see it in her face. She hates it. She hates every time I buy a new car, or she hates it. And all I want to do is help. And I make her feel bad because she wants to be able to give me a car still. This is what moms won't do. This is what people, philanthropists do. Which leads me to the world of more than enough. The thing that I've learned that makes me different from those who appreciate like all of you, and those who acknowledge like all of you, which you wouldn't be here unless you were those people, trust me. You have much better things to do on a Friday, and you all can afford to hit golf balls wherever you want, I'm sure. The third component is asking. We don't understand because we are born genetically and energetically in a zero-sum game. That's why the ego's in place, right? We're afraid you feed, fight, flee, or fornicate in varying different ways. I believe in more than enough of everything for everyone. Therefore, when I give, I acknowledge. When I ask or receive, I'm adding value. Because remember, when I appreciate, I expand. When I acknowledge, I empty a bigger vessel than I was before. If I don't fill it back up by asking for more, it dissipates, dissolves, and disappears. So all of us end up with nothing to give. You gotta learn to ask. If we don't learn to ask for these kids in junior achievement, if we don't learn to ask, then we are going to, as an organization, as a community, as a country, in a world, dissipate, dissolve, and disappear. And we have to understand when we ask, it's adding value to the person that you're asking for. Now, I believe God, and I believe God, I don't care if you do or not, but I believe that we have an actual system to prove this. You see, when we give, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins are released. In other words, we're being rewarded with something that makes us feel good. It's proven. If you give, you get a dose of happiness. Biochemically. If you receive, the same thing happens. Dose of happiness. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and even more miraculously, those who witness the giving and receiving, those who witness it. You're watching a movie, a TV show, or you're standing in line at the grocery and the guy in front lets the lady go because she has crying kids or pays for her grocery. Guess what you get? Dose of happiness. A value add world. An abundant world and more than enough of everything for everyone. When you don't ask to fill your vessel, you are saying to the universe, to the world, to God, there's not enough. Because I'm going to be taking away, so there's going to be a winner or loser in here. Even if you are a good person, you're going to feel bad about adding value. Think about how we feel when somebody asks us for help. One of those kids comes to us and asks us for help. Have they added value to your life? Absolutely. How many kids are afraid to ask for help? How many of you are afraid to ask? I train people all around the country on how to ask. And not just for money. For whatever help it is, in person, on the phone, via email, social media, traditional media. We need to continue the flow to continue to appreciate, expand, and acknowledge, and ask for more, and continue that process. There's more than enough of everything for everyone. It's a value-add world. And you have to carry that energy. You have to break your own genetic and energetic belief that you're taking away in the winner and loser, trading, negotiating, zero-sum world. It's not there. It's not there. It's not a zero-sum world. It's a value-add world. So how do we ask? Now, this is where all the sales experience came in. I have literally been able to simplify this, especially because of social media. Here's what I believe. Number one, only deal with open minds. In the past, when I was young, there might be a limited amount of people that we talked to, so it was worth, going after the lowest hanging fruit, re-engineering visions, overcoming objections, all the things that we were taught from Zig Ziglar to Dennis Waitley to Bosworth to all the great salespeople in the world that can That's just not true today. You have access to billions of people. I've proven it. I have like 2 million followers. Right? And people are like, wow, like that's nothing. I just ask. It's like this, most people don't know who I am, but that's impressive to some people, especially my 13-year-old. But why? Because I ask, and I only deal with open minds. So the first thing I want you to think about when we're asking for help for junior achievement or other causes or things that we want to do in our lives, our mission, is make sure you run away from a closed mind. It's 1,000 times more difficult to re-engineer a closed mind than it is to talk to an open mind. And we have such access to so many people. And when I teach you what we're asking for, you'll see why that we don't want to talk to closed minds. Now you can give them another try, because one thing I have learned about finding open minds is that everyone has one, just not all the time. Some people have open minds the majority of the time. Some people have open minds very, very limited amount of time. But I'll tell you, in the world of asking, you're better off finding someone with a closed mind the majority of the time and finding when they have an open mind, because they don't have many options. So if you catch them when they have an open mind, it's really easy to get those people to align with what you're asking for. So don't give up just because you think someone's closed-minded. Those are sometimes the best people to check in with. Do you have an open mind at this time? And that's why I have a 3-no rule. I'll go ahead and ask someone, and find if they have a closed mind, I walk away, they have a closed mind again. This could be phone call, in person, whatever. On the 3rd time, I always say, hey, this obviously isn't the right time. When it is, please let me know. 50% or so of the time, people will accelerate something that they wanted with me by saying that. They wanted to do it, but life's happening, so now they're like, you know what, he's walking away, I'm going to go ahead and help. Or 50% or so of the time, you never hear from that person. Oh, thank God. I'm not wasting my time anymore. I'm moving on to one of the other 7.6 billion people that I have access to thanks to media. That can help me. So when we find an open mind, what are we searching for in help? I have 2 objectives when I find an open mind. And it's real simple, and I use open-ended questions to get there. There's only 2 things I want to know. Would it help you if? And do you know anyone that could help me? It's that simple. When I talk to each and every one of you today, my objective of talking to you is 1, does he have an open mind? Does he have an open mind? And would it help you if? And do you know anyone that can help me? And I just use open-ended questions. What are you doing today to help junior achievement? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? What's challenging? What's not? What's working? What's not working? And then I, through open-ended questions, can figure out, would it help you if I introduced you to this person? Would it help you if I came and spoke to these people? Would it help you if I did this for you? And then I ask, you know what could help me? I'm looking to empower over 1 million people. I have free Friday trainings. I do lives. These kids love it. Would it help? Do you know anyone that could help me with my mission? You see, I'm building a community of people simply that want to help each other and know people that can help each other. I know people that want to help each other and know people who can help each other. They do 2 things. They buy what you have for a lifetime, and they sell what you have for a lifetime. And I'm not talking about products, services, or solutions. If you can build a community of people that want to help each other, know people who want to help you, you have a community of people for a lifetime that will buy what you have, or they will sell what you have for a lifetime. And all we have to do is ask questions. Don't have to even deal with resistance anymore. We just move on. How do we find out if someone has an open mind? Smile at them. They smile back, usually good indication that they do. If you're not quite sure, then make fun of them. I like to see people in Dodger hats and up here in LA. I have an office, by the way, that all of you are welcome to use anytime to impress donors or kids or at SoFi Stadium. So just let me know. My office is there. So all the time there's these LA people, and I'll always say, oh, they're wearing an LA hat or something. So, oh, do you buy that on sale? If they laugh, I know you have an open mind. If they're angry, I'm like, okay. I'll move on to the Padre fans. It's really easy and it's fun. And I'm adding value all the time. I'm adding value. People leave encountering me happy and fulfilled because I've asked them how I can be of service and asked them how they can be of service. I've given value in an abundant way. There's more than enough of everything, and I've affirmed it, and they got a physical dose of happiness as well, and so did I. And if anybody's watching me on the video doing it or in person, all of this, the reason I have these kids always videoing me is because I know this is a great audience, but I'm going to send it to Junior Achievement Worldwide, and the 100 million alumni out there, some of them it's going to touch and resonate with. Now to finish up before I take Q&A, I want to talk about that frequency. I believe my frequency is my neighborhood. And I train a lot of speakers around the world. And the first lesson I teach them is that when you go to your first audience, about 100 people, what's going to happen is when you're done, 10 people are going to come up to you and tell you that was amazing. They're going to tell you, some of them even, that you changed their life, that this was something they've never heard before, and you are Tony Robbins. They will. Every time, 10% of the people will love what you say no matter what, because it's a matter of frequency. That's why I tell people all the time, only write down or capture what resonates with you. Only capture. You don't have to do anything else. Just what resonates with you. Make sure you capture that. That's our way of knowing what's important. I think I pay like $400 a month for storage of college notes, law school notes, business school notes, Tony Robbins notes, Jack Canfield notes, any other personal development that I have. And I was one of those students that wrote down everything, and I know nothing. And I can't even access that stuff. I'm just paying for it. And then there's kids that I know that wrote down nothing, and they're in the same place, except for they don't have a $400 or $500 storage bill. So they're probably smarter than I was. But I just wish I would have just written down what resonated with me. So know that what you say will resonate with 10% of the people no matter what. Those are really good odds. But also know, especially in the digital age, 10% of the people that you talk to, you are Tabasco in a wound. You could be Einstein, spewing logic like he did, E equals MC squared, and there'll be 10% of the people like, there's an idiot. Well, luckily, they don't usually come up to you in person. They'd rather DM you or do something else. But just realize it. And so we want to find those open minds, knowing that 10% automatically are going to resonate with everything we say, so it makes it really easy to ask. 80% are open-minded to start to resonate with you. It might take more repetition in order for them to get to that 10%. And 10% of the people, no matter what, you could be Gandhi. Remember, Gandhi actually was killed because someone hated him. That man, I've read a lot of Gandhi. I couldn't imagine, maybe I'm just at that frequency, but I couldn't imagine any reason to hurt that man. But 10% of the people that listened to Gandhi, he was Tabasco in a wound. Mother Teresa, Tabasco in a wound. This is incredible. So, if those people are Tabasco in a room, then go in with an awareness that so are you, to 10% of the people. Let's just give the other 80% reason to resonate with us, not to think we're Tabasco in a room, by doing our best, learning lessons, and having fun, by being kind to our future self and doing good deeds, by appreciating what we have, acknowledging it, and asking for more, by using open-ended questions to open-minded people to figure out, would it help you if, or how can I be of service or value, or could you be of service or value to me? Let's create Junior Achievement, especially as a community of people that want to help each other and know people that can help each other. Not just with money, but with time, with, these 3 areas: mentorship, right, which is our ability to give somebody directions to where we are. There's teaching, which is my most difficult one, explaining to people how to get there. And then there's coaching, which I'm really good at, which is bringing the best out of people. You can do all 3 of those. Let's all unite it. I'll give you a primer, I'll send out the template to use, but like anything else, just like gratitude, it's simple to do, but unfortunately it's simple not to do. You've got to practice. You got to practice every day. I tell myself every day, at least one person in person, one on the phone, actually look at all my sent box and my emails to make sure there's an ask in there. If you know anyone that can help me, I do free Friday trainings. I have over 80,000 people today that I did the training for. Because it's in every email. Can you come here? Can you do this? There's an ask in every email and social media and traditional media. Let's find the open minds. Let's ask open-ended questions. Let's find out what they like and don't like to figure out what challenges or powers or superpowers that they have. And then let's utilize them to see how we can help them or who we know that can help them and vice versa. That's what we're here for today. That's why you're spending the whole day here. It's that simple. But remember, the simple things to do are unfortunately simple not to do. Let's do our best to be grateful, forgiving, accountable, and most importantly, inspirational. Let's live in spirit. Next time that you have fear of the past or fear of the future, let's identify what we're doing, prescribing ego to fear, which is natural. They need to be right, they need to be offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful. And instead of trying to resist it, just stop. Breathe. Tell yourself, I need to remember my source of faith. I have to remind my source of faith. I have to recollect with the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that loves me more than my mom. And I'm now going to roll in the right trajectory where I want to be or better or think I want to be or better. It's that easy. The last lesson my mom taught me is when you're on fire, and trust me, when you're afraid, your mind, your body, and soul are on fire. Extraordinary. And if you do that, I promise you, you'll be happy. And if you're happy, you'll make me happy. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bobby. I have another saying, and it applies to AI. 0 to 1 takes more than 1 to 100, especially when you ask people to ask you questions. So when you're around a bunch of kids, set it up that way. So I know 0 to 1 is more than 1 to 100, but thank you. You made it really easy.
My pleasure. I mean, I hope this
That's
works.
just for video.
Yeah.
Pretend
Okay.
it's important.
You want me to stand up too?
If you want, yeah, you can.
So you were mentioning that you have 3 daughters, one is 13.
No, I have three daughters, 24, 22, and 19. My son's 13.
Your son is 13, so he's right at that age where financial literacy really should be peaking. Does the school where your son is at offer financial literacy?
No, and it kills me because people ask me, so I'm worth over $100 million when I'm 36 years old, and 2008 comes and I lose everything. I look back, I have a law degree, business, went to one of the best colleges in the country, academically, not football-wise, that's why they let me play. And I was financially illiterate. I was financially illiterate. So forget our elementary, junior high, and high schools. Our colleges, our law schools, our business schools, our med schools aren't teaching it. And so absolutely part of the reason I'm here is because I was financially illiterate. I work with Marshall Falk and I have a financial literacy program on top of what you achievement.
So that's amazing. So my follow-up question, because that was not an open-ended question like you had stated, who can we speak to at your school to get it instated?
Yeah, president, you could talk, I know the superintendent of San Juan Capistrano School District, which is one of the top ones. So anywhere and everywhere, and I'll get Marshall Falk to speak with you so that we can go in there. He would be more than open to have other clients of mine and partners of mine that have, you know, a little bit.
Wesley?
Well, she went to Harvard Westlake. Yeah, so more like SM, Mission, San Juan Capistrano, but down in San Diego as well. All of the Helix, Henry, all those schools.
And then, this is more for you, Coach. Are you taking on any new athletes?
I don't, not in the sports sense, only, so I coach them in business.
No, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
That's awesome. All right, who's next? Thank you.
There's going to be a question in here somewhere.
That's fine. That's what I said
There's
before.
a question in here somewhere. We live in a world that unfortunately is not reinforcing of positive attitudes much of the time, right? We're surrounded by negativity, we're surrounded by politicians who are always looking at the worst in people, trying to divide us, and get us, I think, to hate each other.
Yes.
We see that in our interpersonal relationships, and I see that in myself at times where I go, how could you possibly believe that? And I say that to somebody I love, and now all of a sudden we're not so, happy with each other. And, how do you deal with that? That's the world we're in. It's a divisive, conflicted, aggressive, angry world.
Yeah, it's a siloed world that is paying attention to the sameness. So we're learning and culturally appreciating the sameness instead of appreciating the differences. And I think it's really important. See, I appreciate all differences as long as it doesn't include oppression of others. So you may believe in something that I completely disagree with, but if it doesn't create an oppression of others, I'm all for it. I don't know what I don't know. And so there's two types of people, ignorant people and ignorant people, meaning people that don't know what they don't know, and people that don't know what they don't know. The difference that we have to pay attention to is we want to encourage ignorant humility, where we are vulnerable enough to say, I don't know, I'm willing to listen why you think that and make my own opinion, as long as it's not oppressing others. And that's a key distinction. And then beyond that, the ignorant arrogance that I talked about earlier is obvious, right? There's some people that are just hurt people, and when you have as many followers as I do, you get hurt people every day trying to hurt you, and they say stupid things. They don't bother me at all. The people I'm most afraid of in ignorant arrogance was the story about my mom. And I learned this as a parent, because we want to make sure that these kids that are watching us understand our ignorant arrogance that we have to them as teachers, as leaders, as parents, grandparents. What is that ignorant arrogance? What happens is we know we don't know what we don't know, but because we're so afraid for you more than we are for ourselves, like my mom was more afraid for me, that's why she wanted me to be a lawyer, not going to the internet. She don't know anything about technology or the future of the internet, but she did know what she thought would keep me safe. And so she gave me advice out of ignorant arrogance and pretended, and I see myself do it sometimes. Oh, you should do this. I don't know if they even should go to college anymore. I'm trying to figure it out, right? I don't know, but I want to take an approach of, hey, let's appreciate, add value to our differences, as long as it's not oppressive to others. And I think too many people aren't willing to make that distinction. And so they get caught up into these silos that's just very comfortable listening to the same people. And then we have these technologies that are feeding us the silo. And so now our perception is one of right and wrong. And once you get the need to be right, then we're in really big trouble. And so as leaders, what we want to be is intelligent followers and teach people exactly how to follow, meaning to learn from, to find the light, the love, and the lessons in people that don't agree with us, as long as it's not, oppressive to others. And most people get caught up into the sameness, and then they start oppressing others, even family members. They start, with judgments, which are only opinions that are based on ignorance and doubt. And then we wonder why this is so aggressive now, and there's so much. You know what saved my marriage, besides an ungodly amount of forgiveness for my wife? What really saved my marriage was I made one switch. I started looking for what I wanted in her instead of what I didn't want. So if I was coming home late one night, because Lee Steinberg was the king of this, right? I would try to sneak by his office and be like, come in here, right? And that guy could talk the ears off a wooden Indian. You ask him what time it is, he tells you the history of the clock. So now it's 7:30 at night, and I was supposed to be home at 5, and I'm driving going, oh my God, my wife's gonna kill me, she's such a B word, why did I marry her, blah, blah, blah. And what did I get when I went home? Exactly what I was looking for. And all I did was switch it. So I'm so blessed. My wife appreciates me. She knows Lee, she knows me, she knows I'd rather be at home with my kids and her than with Lee telling me the history of the clock. I'm so blessed that she's so patient. And guess what I got when I went home? A queen instead of a queen bee. Because I was looking for the queen. I
I used to go to Korea, I was seeing Samsung, 22 days I'd spend there. Every day, sick to my stomach. I miss my kids, I miss my wife. I'm so blessed. What am I doing? I don't need this money. Why am I doing this? I just want to be home. And I'd get home and I'd see shoes on the staircase and immediately lose my mind. After 22 days of thinking how blessed I was to have such an amazing wife and family, and I ruin it all because I'm looking for what I don't want. So we gotta help people look for what they want. We have to institute gratitude of finding light, love, and lessons, even in things we don't agree with. As long as they're not what? Oppressive of others. We have to stand up for when people are like, hey, these differences, but when we're hurting others or full of hate, then we have to point it out and say, hold on a second. I can appreciate what you're saying, but what I don't appreciate is that you're taking what differences we have and trying to hurt others or separate us with inferiority or superiority or inequality. And it's okay to stand up and say, this isn't okay. I appreciate this opinion, but it's going to hurt someone. Why would you want to hurt someone on something you don't know or I don't know? We're just both trying to figure it out together, right? Some things don't resonate with me, some things don't resonate with you. That's cool. But if it's hurting someone else, let's talk about it. What can we do and learn from each other so it doesn't hurt someone else or hurt me or hurt you? And I think it's really important to start teaching people to appreciate the differences that don't hurt each other. Because we're creating hurt for the differences when they don't mean anything. You know, politicians, let's be honest, right? What impact does a president actually have? It's all the other people you should be worried about. We're still here. It's amazing. My value system, I like kind people. I don't care what party it is. I want my kids to be kind. That means more than anything. I can take probably 50% of every politician's platform or what they're actually doing and agree with it, and 50%, no matter what party or who they are, and 50% of it. But the one thing that I won't stand for is someone being, excuse my language, a dick. Because I don't want my kids to think that's okay from a leader. That's not okay for me. But that's my opinion. Someone else can say, but Dave, the biggest dicks in the world are the greatest leaders. They're going to say, good, vote for the dick. I don't care. I don't, because it's not going to hurt, right? You deserve that. Appreciate the differences, yes. Now she's really tender. She's like, should I ask her? Just so you know, my next book, the title is Don't Do Business with Dicks. And it's not Dick's Sporting Good. Although they'll probably sue me anyway.
Hi, David. I'm Audrey. I work for Junior Achievement. Thank you so much for being here. I just have to say I read your book a few years ago, and your 3 goals of make lots of money, have lots of fun, help lots of people really has stuck with me. And I'm wondering how nonprofits as a whole can start to take that perspective, because to provide additional context, last night I just watched this amazing documentary called Uncharitable, and you're nodding your head, maybe you're already aware of it. For those who aren't, so it kind of exposes the two different worlds that we're living in. There's one for for-profits and there's one for nonprofits, and it's like a double standard. It's like nonprofits have to operate totally separately in different ways, and it's not fair to the people we're trying to help and the people who work for nonprofits. So I'm wondering if you have additional insights or input to that, and how maybe, I think that a lot of what you said can apply to trying to make that shift. So I'm just wondering if you have additional thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, first of all, the premise of nonprofits is the perception of being a profit. So a lot of times, the majority of the laws, regulations, tax implications are based off of a historical analysis of how do we take advantage of people that are good and want to give. Right? You know, literally, it's an energy of it, it's a meaning of it. So when we start looking at how has this evolved, you know, I love studying history, still study history, because human nature never changes. And it gives me a different perspective in this whole arena of profit and nonprofit.
Are there nonprofits that are run better than corporations? I would say absolutely. St. Jude would be one of them. Multi-billion-dollar organization, extremely well run because they shifted the paradigm of abundance. They didn't follow what everybody expected to follow, including in the execution of the model, which is why I'm involved with St. Jude, because I got involved not only because I found out how Danny Thomas started the organization by walking down aisles with his hat saying, I'm Danny Thomas, I'm an entertainer, and I want to stop childhood cancer. And now we have a multi-billion-dollar company. But they give away everything. Where every other medical, from Harvard to everywhere, they're so scarce to hold on to all of their R&D so nobody else can cure cancer. St. Jude posts every day everything they learn about cancer. They don't care if Harvard's the one that cures it. They just want it cured. And ironically, they have the highest paid CEO of any nonprofit. They have all their everyone's paid well. And ironically, because they don't live in scarcity. They are an abundant organization, and people feed off of an energy, and they feel good about giving to St. Jude. There's tons of other places to give. So the way that we counteract it is that we don't go down a historical pattern and say that there's this scarce, we can't do this or that. Run it like a company. Get aggressive salespeople, just like other organizations that are professional at raising money, that have no qualms. Pay them great commissions. Pay them great commissions for raising money. Pay everyone. I have 5 incentives in my company for every employee. 1 is sales. Everyone, you contribute to sales, you get paid. 2, asking for help. 3, engagement and accessibility. 4, student of the calendar. I'm a time freak. So I don't have time to teach you that, but I'll send you a document that changed my life. Student of the calendar. And then 5, being honest with yourself. Everybody gets a grade in my company every single month, and everybody gets a bonus in my company every single month, determined upon the net profit of my company and their grade point average. Based off of 5 grades, A, B, C, D, or F. Student of the calendar grade, engagement and accessibility grade, being honest with yourself grade, asking for help grade, and sales. And you get extra commissions for sales besides the bonus. Everybody, so if you make an introduction because you are at a wedding and you're like, hey, what do you do? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Would it help you if I introduce you to my boss? And that turns into a sponsorship of a TV show or a coaching client or something. Boom, that's yours. I actually have a full-time employee because of the social media that I have now, that 7 days a week, I pay for him to go to events and walk around and say, hi, I'm Keaton. What do you do? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Would it help you if I introduce you to my boss, David Meltzer? That's his whole job. And then there's 3 things that can happen. 1, people go, Dave Meltzer, I love that guy. Very few, by the way, 10%. 10%, yeah, right? Hey, yes, please. 10% say what? Oh, I hate that guy. Right? And then he gives an opportunity. Oh, you don't know him then. Why don't I set up a call so you can get to know him and I can understand why you don't like him? And then the majority of the people say, oh, I've never heard of him. Oh, you use Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, we'll mention something. Here, look. Oh, wow, I'd like to meet him. You show that video that didn't work, or some other video. That's what we need to do. We need to incentivize people just like a regular business. And there's actually, believe it or not, if you get the best tax people in the world, they'll show you how you can make more money and raise more money in a charity than you can ever do for a corporation. And be honest about it, the tax side. Great question. Yes?
So I'm assuming that each of us is in this room because we, on some level, are committed to being a beloved servant.
Yes.
Each of us is in this room.
You know that's what my name means? That's what my actual name means.
Okay.
David means beloved and Meltzer means waiter or servant.
Yeah.
Just like Wayne Dyer means the way and light, so if you're Tao, we're
you do what you do because you are committed to being a beloved servant. How do you prioritize self-care?
That's the most important thing. So here, I told you I'm a time freak, so I'll give you part of the time. You gotta have non-negotiables. And so my non-negotiables before were family, finance, and my health. But what I started learning was if you put family and finance before your health, it's a rare day that you're gonna walk away from family or finance to go work out. So I shifted my non-negotiables. Number one non-negotiable to me is 7 hours of sleep. Last 17 years, I've had a sleep coach to help me with two things. Make sure that when I sleep, I recover and I access information correctly from my sleep, subconsciously, non-consciously. Then I have a meditation coach to transcend that information into my daily activities. So 7 hours are non-negotiable. I have an unwinding routine, so I don't worry about tomorrow. I put myself in a position to recover and access mentally, physically, and spiritually, and I have a plan to make sure I get those 7 hours non-negotiable. Then I have 3 hours of non-negotiables every day. When I say non-negotiables, that means nothing else is going to overlap or overcome that non-negotiable. That is my priority. So number one non-negotiable after sleep is a minimum of an hour a day on my health. Before my family. Minimum. Notice I say minimum, because some days it's more. Minimum of 30 minutes with my wife. Minimum of 30 minutes with my son, who's 13. Minimum of 2 minutes a day with my daughters. I asked for 5. They knew that her parents needed it. Minimum 2 minutes, and I make sure I tell them what? Right, that I love them, I'm proud of them, and I always have their back. Every conversation. They roll their eyes, but I'm planting seeds under trees I may never sit under. Trust me, I know it works. Minimum, this one kills my mom, minimum of a minute a day with my mom. And I healed that relationship because my mom's a 3rd-degree black belt in the martial arts called Jewish guilt. So minutes sometimes difficult. But a minimum, and I tell my mom 4 things every day. 1, I'm happy. 2, I'm healthy. 3, I love her, and 4, I appreciate her. Minimum of a minute. Every day. 7 days, I don't miss. It's non-negotiable. President Obama could call me and say, dude, you gotta go to lunch. I'm like, hold on a minute, I haven't talked to my mom. And I have no problem telling him that. And then a minimum of 10 minutes a day to study time. So I study activities I planned, I don't have planned, sleep, activities I get paid for, and activities I don't get paid for. Notice nowhere do I work. I believe I get 24 hours of activities a day. How am I going to be most productive, accessible, and gracious with my activities? There's no qualm about work. Work seems hard to me. It seems like dis-ease. I live my life at ease, productive, accessible, and gracious. And then I spend a minimum of 10 minutes a day checking in with the people that are most relative to me. I think I have 3,314 or 15 people on this list now. So every day I take a minimum of 10 minutes, either DM, text, or quickly call or email, just saying, hey, wanted to check in, I'm thinking about it. Just building that community in touch points. Just go down and check. If I run someone at the airport and on my list, I'll check it. When it's all checked, I start over again. Minimum for 10 minutes a day. So here's the cool thing that happened. I did that because I wanted to make sure I got the most important things done in my life. Sleep being the number one thing. Well, 7 hours plus 3 hours is 10 hours. All of a sudden, this great ease came over me because all the important things in my life are taken care of every day. And if you take care of those important things, your life's going to be amazing. All of a sudden, I realized I got 14 hours a day to do whatever the heck I want. 14 hours a day to do whatever I want. To do whatever I want. As long as I do those 10 hours, I got 14 hours of awake time. And then I came up with this idea that made me feel even better because I'm a little bit OCD, if you haven't noticed, which is probably why time is my love language. Then I realized, wow, I'm so blessed that there's more than enough of everything. Of course I can't get everything done. Do you know how freeing it is to start your day and say, hey, I got 14 hours to do whatever I want, and I'm never going to get everything done today. So I'm just gonna prioritize what's most important after what's most important is done. For 14 hours. I vacation every day. I literally vacation every day. Sometimes it's a minimum of 10 minutes, sometimes it's longer. I see my life as a weighted balance of this is what I want in a trajectory today, of what I think I want in the future, and here's the meaning of the past, the lessons of the past, that I'm going to utilize in order to get me there faster or better. And so personally, experientially giving, therefore, all the things that happen outside of us, COVID, interest rates, losing your job, in-laws coming in town, you know, your dog having $16,000 back surgery, your wife backing up because she's so upset about it into another car, and then she's so upset she gets shingles. Sound like life? That's okay. I'm blessed. More than enough of everything. I have 14 hours a day. I'm not going to get it all done, but I'm going to vacation. I'm going to vacation. I might jump in, you know, my 55 Ford Thunderbird and drive down to the beach for 10 minutes and just sit there as if I'm in Hawaii. And then I come back home and get right back into the activity I get paid for. Some days I take 10 hours to vacation. So it's just a weighted balance determined upon what's happening outside of me, knowing that I have control of three things every day. My mindset, my heart set, how I feel, how I think, and my hand set, what I do. No matter what's happening else, interest rates, cars, dogs, kids, no matter what happened outside of me, I get the control of the meaning of it, the way I feel about it, and what I'm going to do. And that's what I focus in on. We can help other people do the same. All right, cool. We got time for even more. Yes, thank you.
My name is Jamie South. I'm with Junior Achievement. So it's a pleasure to work with our company and give back to our kids. For me personally, you kind of answered it in this last question, but as a single mom and working full time, I'm a senior that's going into high school, but I also own my own business. With that business, I give pretty much most of the profits back to local charities. I'm in Orange County, so local Orange County charities or people in need, specifically focused with kids. With trying to come up with my non-negotiables right now because I'm all over the place, and because of that, of course, JA, my 9 to 5 is very, very important and primary, but my business on the side can kind of sometimes suffer because of trying to find that balance when you're the only one doing everything. Do you have any feedback on or information on that besides non-negotiables and how to do that?
Yeah, so first of all, I use percentage not only of time, but of money.
No.
So for me, it's irrelevant the amount. I believe time is the dependent variable of all matter. If we know that human nature has one capability that it's missing, it's the ability to be aware of progress. So it frustrates us because we can have good behavior and we're progressing toward what we want, but we can't see it, so we quit. We can have bad behavior and we're progressing toward what we don't want, but we don't see it, so we continue to do it. So you'll see friends of yours as you get older, like, I've been smoking for 19 years, look at me, you idiot, I'm in better shape than you. And then 2 weeks later, they're dead. Because it exponentially grows, right? They're 25% of the way to cancer, 50% of the way to cancer, and then the next year they're 100%. It doubles. Well, they don't see anything for the first 18 years. 19 years, they're 15, they get a cough. In the 20th year, they're 100% of the way to cancer, and they die. This is good behavior and bad behavior. So what I use is percentages, a weighted balance, and say, time is my dependent variable of all matters, subjective and objective matter. So if I'm feeling guilty, I ask myself, how much time did I spend feeling guilty today? Oh, 63 minutes. I'm gonna spend 62 minutes tomorrow. Now I know I'm progressing towards what I want, because guilt is an interference between me and my potential. And so I want you to really look at your time and give your business, because you know you're gonna give 9 to 5 to Junior Achievement, you're gonna do your best, learn lessons, and have fun there, be productive, accessible, and gracious in that effort, but outside of that, you have a lot of time. So let's give it a minimum. I have a saying with my kids, it's the girls that it came from, 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. And it really is. So the way that the conscious continuum works with the cellular memory, your subconscious, and your quantum being, that it doubles on itself. So the energy, which is behavior, which applies to business or to giving, is energy does 3 things. It aggregates, it attracts more of it. So money's an energy, it'll attract more money if you have it. It will exponentially grow. So 2 turns to 4, 4 turns to 8, if you do it consistently.
And so you're getting an exponentiality of behavior or money, savings, whatever it is. And then it actually gives you another benefit called acceleration. So it starts appeasing the lack of capability of humans to see progress. So when it accelerates, we now get some kind of dose of appreciation by having some outcome that's represented by the behaviors that we put forward. But that's why you see so many entrepreneurs that are overnight successes, but they'll go and tell you, I've been doing this 17 and a half years. Because it's doubling. The best analogy of life, which applies, and I do this with my giving, right? I just have set percentages. It doesn't matter if I make 100 million, a million, or $10. A certain percentage is already predetermined to go to the charities of who's most relative to me and my family, then my community, local, then my state, then my country, and then the world. And I predetermine it. Then I don't have to worry. I'm just more motivated, right? So people come up to me and they say, oh, can you give $100 to the local Little League? Yeah, because it's in the percentage of what it is. And if there's anything left over, I just pick one of the charities locally to give it to. And if I have a shitty month and someone says, do you have $100? Not this month, check with me next. I lost money this month. Instead of in this game of guilt and resentment and all these things that I play, it's just math to me. Thank you.